Welcome back from the break. And if you just joined us, good morning and welcome to Sunrise at Sea. We are in our views segment. And if you want to be a part of our conversations, all you have to do is follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that is at CTV Uganda. Leave your comment and don't forget to use the hashtag CTV Sunrise. We are also streaming live on Facebook and on our website, which is www.ctv.co.ug. And let's just get right into it. Today we're going to be discussing breastfeeding in public. Now we all know that breastfeeding is definitely good for the child. Yes, and also good for the mother because it encourages bonding and it is just a beautiful way of a mother to feed her child. However, a lot of people, and we have had this debate on social media for the longest time, so today we are trying to put a rest to it. Is breastfeeding in public ever okay? Is it appropriate?
It depends on how it's done.
Is it ever appropriate?
Is it appropriate to do it in public?
It depends on how it's done, again, I would say, because you don't want to be there, you're in the bank, and then someone just flashes a boob out of nowhere. Yeah. Yes. I remember when I was, it's true, you're like, woo, okay. But I'm just saying, like, even when I was breastfeeding, I got those nursing tops.
Yes.
Or dresses. So you just do this. You didn't need, you see a woman opening the buttons, then removing, you're like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. So get the appropriate wear because it's even comfortable for you. And you also have the nursing bras where you unclasp.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you use the top and then you put the baby and you nurse with a shawl.
Yes.
Yeah. So you don't have to start wriggling out of your dress and this and that. And you excuse yourself, go to the side. I remember when we go to church, Watoto Church actually had a nursing area for mothers.
It does. Yes.
So whenever I'd go with the baby and the baby's crying, I would go to the nursing area and and there are other mothers breastfeeding, not to do it. So it depends, yeah? Because other people, you're at the bank, you're in an office, and they don't have the right attire, and you're like, okay, this is inappropriate.
I think if you know that you're a breastfeeding mother and you have a child that still needs breastfeeding, it's very important that you maybe look out for the kind of attires you're putting on. But also, it's outright that some women do not just have etiquette. Like, there's a time I found it a bit weird when the bank and when the waiting queue was seated. And then she just pulled out her boob. And the guy next to her said in Luganda, Mama Nyawo. And he said, Mama Nyawo. And it was because for him, yes, he understood that the child needs to feed, but for some people, they find it a very disturbing sight or very indecent or disgusting and stuff. But yet again, we understand that your baby needs to feed and it's very important. But also, like Sarah said, and you hinted on, breastfeeding is a bonding moment with your child. So you want that privacy also, It take a bit of caution. Know what you're wearing as well. I mean, if you must carry an extra thing where you're able to cover the baby and just make it as intimate as possible because it also affects the child. I mean, my auntie was breastfeeding and every time she would breastfeed her child in public and there was so much noise going on, the child even wouldn't concentrate. So it actually affects the babies. They're more comfortable breastfeeding when there's not so much noise around and they're just bonding with the mom. So I think it is just wrong to be breastfeeding in public.
Yes, well, the social attitudes to and legal status of breastfeeding is public spaces is very different in different cultures around the world, and many countries, both in whether it's in the United States or in Africa or in Europe, do not have any issue with women breastfeeding in public. However, there are still some society norms that make it shameful for women to breastfeed in public and very uncomfortable for women to breastfeed in public. Like, for instance, people stare at you, people, make comments at you. Some people have said that is even a warrant to be, sexually harassed by creepy people. Yes. And also, as South Africa went on, actually, the government did put up a whole campaign to, you know, sensitize and educate people on breastfeeding, and actually came out to tell their citizens that do not stigmatize or look at women who breastfeed their children in public, you know, in a funny way, because, like, you know, sexual harassment or
yes.
sex violence,
breast violence
in South Africa is actually quite high.
Yes.
And this is one of the reasons they said was a cause. So the women, so a lot of advocates came out to say that please, you know, just be a little, you know, helpful, and do not, you know, make women feel uncomfortable to do this. I also got to find out in countries, especially in the Middle East, like Abu Dhabi and Dubai, it is not refused, it's not illegal. However, modesty and decency is highly recommended in the country. So you cannot publicly just breastfeed your child like that. And you have to find a very, you know, discreet place, and you literally have to basically hide while you breastfeed your child, because if you expose yourself, you're definitely going to get into trouble for that.
And in Uganda, World Health Organization, of course, in collaboration with World Vision, we're actually trying to find ways of how to help breastfeeding mothers to sort of have safe breastfeeding, but also to avoid that public negative attention. So that is definitely a good initiative that they did right there.
Exactly. And also in some other countries, like in Europe, say Australia and Canada and whatnot, in the US, it's allowed to breastfeed in public, but say if you do it in a restaurant or in a public space that is owned by somebody, and the owner of the business or property asks you to stop doing it, they have every right to kick you out.
Wow.
Yes, they have every right to kick you out because of indecent exposure. Although it's not.
But I'd like to talk about something.
Yes.
And Sarah, I'd like to know your view on this. I mean, we are both mothers.
Yeah.
And yes, breast milk is the best for babies.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely, it is. And they say it's good to breastfeed and at least up to 2 years. But you have seen those mothers who the kid is 3 years and she's breastfeeding the kid
like
in
a boy
public.
that is walking.
And the baby what?
Like 3 years old, and she's breastfeeding the baby in public. Like, people say, I'm a mom, and I stay, I'm like, really, honey?
Wouldn't you want to try like other alternatives? Like, I mean, if you need to plan ahead. If you know that your child is going to breastfeed, I mean, if he's that age or if she's that age, then maybe how about you pump the milk into a bottle then just have it carrying around with you. You see, if you want to avoid also that negative attention, that could be a solution.
You put it in a bottle. Get supplements for the child. No, first of all, I feel attacked because I breastfed until my son was like 3.5. He had a full mouth of teeth. And he had a full mouth of teeth, and he was talking properly and almost half my height.
So you're one of those
I'm one of those moms.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Shots fired.
So again, I mean, you would have opted to pump the milk out of the breast and then give it to him. But I don't think
see Sarah doing that.
So anyway, like the ladies have recommended, how you can breastfeed in public and not have people glaring and staring at you is hold your baby, and, you know, as you can see, there's a picture on your screen right now, and, you know, cover over your breast and let your baby enjoy their milk. Another way is there's a lot of apparel actually these days, you know, there's with the zippers in very convenient places, and also your bras, so that you can, you know, breastfeed your baby comfortably. There are also other, you know, again, shawls and whatnot that have been introduced to, you know, so that you can be able to breastfeed your child, you know, comfortably. So, but still there are some ladies who are like, why should I hide? Why should I hide? It should be a natural response. But a lot of people find this very indecent because, one, breasts are considered as a private part of a woman's anatomy.
And you're evoking someone's feelings and emotions as you're removing your breast.
But you see, some people will argue that why should you inconvenience me? Because you have your insecurities. Why are my breasts triggering you? So if you have a problem with seeing my boobs, you get out.
The other side.
Walk out. Hey. So you see, a lot of women do argue this. Actually, sometimes in some restaurants, there was actually a whole debate where a woman was asked to go to the washrooms. In the US, it was on Twitter. And she was asked to go to the washrooms to breastfeed her child from there. Yes, so she doesn't do it in the public space. They gave her the option, either go to the washrooms or leave these premises.
That's a bit extreme.
Exactly.
They could have gotten her a private area, like on the side of the restaurant, and then.
But also, we're looking at like the urban women. How about the rural women who live in the village, probably, and cannot afford these different things that we have shown here today?
But for them, there it's normal.
Yes,
it's normal. They don't live in an urban setting where you'll be like, oh, that's a bit.
Too
no,
much,
it's
yes.
like it's natural to them. It's okay. No, they don't.
Yes.
They don't. And for them, they are kawa.
So now okay, fine. Now that we've talked about breastfeeding in public, I just declared that I stopped breastfeeding my son when he was 3.5. A lot of countries, you know, even in Uganda, say at least breastfeed your child for the first 2 years. Other mothers have gone up to 5 years, by the way, breastfeeding their children. So what do you think is the right time to stop breastfeeding your child? Sandra?
I'm rolling my eyes.
When did you stop?
I stopped at 6 months.
Are you serious?
I did. Anyways, I didn't have that much milk. You know how you have to like keep drinking and they give you that big flask of porridge.
Yes.
Yeah. But I just couldn't get enough milk, and I had to start supplementing by like 3 months. And I have boys, you know how boys can. They want to feed. So I couldn't keep up. So I started supplementing from 3 months. And you know, once they get used to formula, they don't want to go back to, because the supply is not
enough
consistent there. They're like, this bottle is better. So I had no option.
For you, Siobhan, when do you think it's the right time for a woman to stop breastfeeding? Stop breastfeeding her child?
I would say 5 months.
Yeah.
For me, 5 months would do. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
If
5
I had
years,
a choice, I would have gone up to 9
Let
months.
me give you an example. My little brother, my mom breastfed him up to about 2 months because she needed to go to work. So now it depends. I mean, under what circumstances are you? Are you a full-time mom? Are you going to be there for your child? If not, then you're going to have to figure out other ways.
That's true.
But also, this habit of mothers breastfeeding their children up to the age of 6, up to the age of 4, up to the age of it's a bit alarming. Like you said, a boy walking and playing, and then all of a sudden, mommy, I want
it's
to.
Even inappropriate. I saw this lady sometime, and the kid was almost 4. I'm not judging, Sarah.
Okay.
You are judging.
We were at a party, and he came, mommy nyonyo, and he pulled down and the boob fell out.
No, that's
and
also,
you are like,
I think it also goes back to teaching some of these children etiquette, because some of them are just outright
but they
rude.
don't know. For them, it's natural. But you see, in a setting like that, what if you're in an office? And this lady were at a party, there were guys there, and he pulled the dress and the boobs just because he wanted nyonyo.
Listen, see, here are some of the benefits of breastfeeding your child, you know, for as long as possible. You know, it lowers risk of breast cancer for the mother. It also lowers risk of ovarian cancer for the mother. It also lessens the risk of getting diabetes for the mother.
So it's
Sandra,
for the mother.
It is good for the mother. You think I'm coming for you? Well, also the nutrients are absolutely the best for a child, because for me, when I started nursing my son, when I started nursing my baby boy, I was advised to at least continuously breastfeed him until he turns 6 months, because when babies turn 6 months, that's when they're now introduced to, like, you know, other foods like solids and supplements. You start weaning them off. But see, mine was not weaning. He was just eating his mashed potatoes, Irish or whatever things that I was giving him, and still breastfeeding, because I was at home. I was a stay-at-home mom at the time. I was staying at home. So, I mean, why not just breastfeed until he can start making constructive sentences? And it also balances the baby's belly. Breast milk is easily digestible, you know. A lot of babies that suffer with constipation and colic, it's because they have been introduced to formula at such an early age, and they're not able to, you know, digest that and break it down, you know, quickly. And it's also good for bonding, because then your children learn to just love you. And you know, a lot of people will say it's because you are the food supply. The child has no choice but to love you. So yeah, it also boosts the baby's immune system, and breast milk is a strong illness inhibiting, you know, food element. So I think it is necessary for women to, you know, breastfeed as long as possible. I would like to know what you guys have to say. If you want to be a part of our conversations, please go to our social media handles, and that is at CTV Uganda. Leave your comment. Let us know what you think. When should a mother stop breastfeeding? And also, is it okay to breastfeed in public? Here in Uganda, we do not have any laws that prohibit us from breastfeeding in public. I think it is even highly, you know, recommended and encouraged. Because, and you wanted to know what it is I had to say about it. Like, I'm not for it. Breastfeeding in public, I'm not. I'm really not. And I think maybe I say this because I was at home. I think it's because I was at home the whole time. But it's very uncomfortable to do it in public, because you're also trying to not get any, you know,
spill.
Yeah, spill on
really
yourself.
Has such a smell. Like you have to change once it goes on your
Exactly, and it doesn't go away.
Oh no,
it does not. It is so risky. You know, another thing about raising children is the other hard part about raising children was, you know, breastfeeding them in the middle of the night. For me, that was a very difficult part.
Can you sleep? I'm trying to sleep. You take milk later.
When the baby wants, the baby wants.
Baby is boss.
Boss baby.
Yes. So now for our last question. Now, it's still about breastfeeding children. You know, after the mother has been discharged from hospital, and now she's home to take care, and she has now been discharged. I would like to ask the ladies here. Sandra, you are a mom, and Shivan, upcoming mom soon. So, do you support the idea of mothers, you know, new mothers being sent to their mothers to be taken care of after delivery?
Absolutely not. I didn't go anywhere. And you know, I didn't understand this culture before. And people kept on asking me, where are you going? I'm like, am I going somewhere?
Yes.
Not that I know. They're like, no, you're not going to your mom. I'm like, my mom is not there. I lost my mom at a young age. And they're like, so where are you going? I'm like, I'm not going anywhere. Yes. Why should I be inconvenienced to leave my home? I mean, with all due respect, when we're making this baby, I just remember one other person being there. So I do not see why this other person has to come and step in. And it says through sickness and health.
Yes.
So why do you want to send me away? Yet when the husband is sick, you're expected to wait on him hand and foot.
You know, that's the thing.
But why don't they ship you away?
Why don't we send them to their mothers when they are sick
as well? So I was like, no. So my two babies, I stayed at home. He took turns waking up to give formula and help me carry the baby. Yes, while I caught some sleep. Yeah. So,
I think it's also very important for the husbands to also go through this process
because
with
they
their
brought
women.
With the baby.
Yes.
Because you both brought this baby to life. So what would be the essence of sending me to my mother-in-law or to even my own mother? Yet you, my husband, you're around.
Yes.
It's actually a beautiful thing if both husband and wife went through the whole taking care of the baby. You get to, first of all, the man, you get to understand how hectic it is to take care of a child. So that the next time you're thinking of bringing another into the world, you know what is involved, you know? So that's because some men somehow think that taking care of a child is like easy because most of them haven't really gone through it. But the few that have gone through it actually appreciate the women for upbringing. That's why you will find a man who will say in a speech or something and say, I thank my wife for raising my kids because he knows how hectic it is. But a man that doesn't understand these things will not see any value in you.
Absolutely. I think we should throw away cease and desist from this culture of sending away, newborn mothers to their mothers to take care of. And I also think that there should be antenatal classes for